Hello, Layla.
Hi, Brian.
Where you at?
I'm in my room, leaning against my bed. We're still fixing up the casita, so I'm just doing it this way. Where
Yeah,
you're in Mexico?
I am in Mexico. I'm in a small town called Sayulita, which is like 45 minutes north of Puerto Vallarta, and it's probably these towns, they're really dope, and then a bunch of tourists go there, and then they're not chill no more, right?
Yeah.
So this is definitely one of those where it was probably really amazing. Right before this, I was in a town called San Pacho, which is 5 minutes north of here, and that was a very like 3 blocks to walk kind of town in Mexico. It's the smallest place I've ever been in Mexico. There were like chickens on the ground with like little baby chickens walking. I recorded some because that was kind of wild. Um, no hotels above 3 stars, like kind of deal. And so what's funny is we had planned on recording on Tuesday. And yeah, when I got to I'm just so spoiled, such a spoiled American, where I'm just like used to there being high speed internet everywhere I go. And literally, y'all, the download speed was 6 megabytes per second. Like there was no way you were doing anything meaningful on that internet. Um, and so we did like a pure, like kind of like a tech detox. Like the phones wouldn't work anyway, so we took pictures and things like that. But otherwise, you didn't really hear from y'all. Didn't hear from me for days, really.
Oh. Was it kind of awesome?
I loved it because it was um, just kind of like this opportunity to let go, and plus, I was like listening to this chapter in this book about Buddhism at the time, and trying to relieve stress and like how much stress is just caused by like not feeling like there's not enough of something,
Mm.
right? No matter what it is, and so honestly, it was like a perfect time to go without. The only downside was like I've been trying to stay consistent on Duolingo, and that was more challenging without internet. So
Right. Right.
yeah, I'm trying to practice my Portuguese for this Brazil trip.
Right. Did you follow up with that for because remind the audience what's going on?
Well, okay, you tell them, you recap it.
Okay. So I know that you were nervous about going to Brazil. You're going without your wife and you're hoping to redefine what Brazil means to you. You used to be a sex traveler. So you were going to Brazil, all over the world, but like going to brothels and just having a good old time. But you're looking to redefine what that is to you. You're going for a friend's birthday. That's vanilla, not in a lifestyle. And I know that you were nervous. Did you ever end up talking to your partner about those nerves?
So I didn't, and then I forgot she listens to the podcast, and so she
Stop!
listened to the episode, and so on the flight in, she was like, "So how much of?" And she asked me straight, "It's like how much of what you say on the podcast is for like entertainment purposes that you're hyping up, and how much is real, like 100% your honest feelings?" And
Mm.
she asked that question before she asked why she was asking that question. So then the follow up was, so then tell me like what's going on with Brazil? I had no idea you felt this way about it. Um, and yeah, so she found out through the podcast. That's like I fucked that up. I should have told her. I should have sat her down and had a conversation. I had just been working so much. I've been out of town, so we didn't really have a minute to really sit down and talk through stuff. And these episodes come out so fucking fast, Layla, that
Right. And
I got
Brazil's
caught
still
off
far
guard.
away. Like
That's the thing.
that's the thing. Yeah.
I haven't
That
booked a
makes sense.
flight yet,
Right.
right? Um, But we had an awesome conversation about how, it really is, it's less like I'm just redefining Brazil for me. It's less like a faithfulness to her or anything like that. That's not challenging. But it opened up this conversation, me explaining why Brazil is so challenging for Americans. And it's kind of hard. If you haven't been, it's kind of hard to explain why so many Americans go down there and they fall in love really fast with someone.
Mhm.
Um, am I the first person who's told you about this? This like
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
there's some sort of magnet happening. I think like America's a really cold, structured culture, and Brazil's a really wild, free, loving culture. And
Mhm.
so as an American, you get there, and this is like, oh, this is what love feels like. This is great. Like everyone just kind
Aw.
of loves everybody. That's not the truth, but it feels like it's like that on the surface.
That's cool though.
It's really, honestly,
I want to go.
yeah.
I'll go with you on your trip.
So you know what her concern was actually though? Her
Hmm.
concern was like it was less about hooking up with someone. It's like, would it be a random person or would it be one of the friends on the trip? And those feel like different
Oh,
things. And that's like you hooking up randomly with a random person and you never see them again is one thing. You hooking up with someone who's sleeping in the same house and they're there in the same house for 4 days would feel different. I get that. I get that.
right.
So
Is that something
um
you had even like considered or thought about? Because I hadn't thought about that.
no, because I he doesn't listen to the podcast, so I feel like I can say this. The reason I've been hesitant to fully commit to the podcast is because when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, right? I'm going to go for it. It's why I'm on a podcast in Mexico. Y'all, I don't have to be on this podcast right now. I could be having a siesta outside. I could be surfing. It's
Hmm.
almost noon here, right? On my last full day. And look at me. What am I doing? I'm on a podcast for y'all. So,
Yeah.
you're welcome. Because I
Yeah.
said I was going to do it, right?
Like and subscribe, bitches.
N- yeah, like and subscribe from Mexico. Yeah. Gusta y I don't know how to say subscribe in Spanish. Actually, I just realized that.
Gusta y subscribe.
No.
Oh.
so, so look, my biggest fear is that everyone's gonna bail, but me.
Bail on the whole trip?
Yeah, because this happens
Oh.
all the time, Layla. Like someone sets up a WhatsApp group, and there's
Mhm.
30 people in it, and then you're like, "Yeah, I'm going," and then over time, 30 turns into 20, and then 20
Mm.
turns into 15. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? And for me, the minute I say I'm going, I'm going.
Right.
So I think my hesitation is like I have told myself none of the girls who said they're gonna be in the room in the house are gonna show up.
Okay. Would you
And
still
I thought
go?
this,
Would you still
huh?
go if no other girls went?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's not why I'm going.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what I'm saying is like it's not worth having a conversation with my wife about it because I don't think there's gonna be any girls in the house.
Right. Right. Okay.
That's more so what I'm saying. But anyway, so she found out he finally figured out his flight pattern, so I'll book my flight. Um, and yeah, that's just where we're at with it. We'll follow up because I think the closer I get to the date, like the more tension I'll probably feel about it. But
Mhm.
he also sent the schedule, and it's so packed. Have you heard that joke where it's like when you go to Vegas and it's like party, beach, party, dinner, like party, like wake up,
Yeah.
party, and it's like these club sandwiches. He's really stacking it in. I'm already tired. Like I'm exhausted
Mm.
looking at the Have you had that before where you look at the line
Yeah.
the
I don't
activities, you're like,
I
I'm
don't
already
love
exhausted.
itineraries. I just wanna just like I just wanna vibe, like I just wanna go with the flow. Cause some days I wake up and I'm like, I'm napping all day, and then other days I wake up and I'm like, we're fucking partying starting now. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel.
So y'all schedule naps. Men do not schedule naps.
See, but our hormones are insane all throughout our month. So like I don't know how I'm gonna feel. Am I gonna be ovulating that week? Am I gonna be in my luteal phase? Like I don't know. That literally depends so much on how I'm gonna be on that trip.
That's so much to think about. Now I
I
gotta think
know.
about who's ovulating and is Mercury in retrograde, you know, and like which like is this the season finale of The Bachelor? Because then we gotta make time for that. And
Yeah,
y'all got a lot going on.
I got a lot going on. There's a lot
Mhm,
going on.
mhm. Anyway, what's going on with you? Because I haven't talked to you in a week and a half,
I
and
know.
I don't
So
even
much
know
has
what's going on with
happened.
you.
So much has happened in like the best way. So, um, oh God, I just woke up. So last weekend on Saturday, we were supposed to go to Mystery Temple, and I was going to perform with my like vocal coach, bandmate person. And I was gonna take him to his first sex party. And it was so precious because he was like all nervous. And I'm like, we're gonna perform. I was gonna bring someone on stage and like dom them like for this song. And it was gonna be so fun, but I ended up canceling because I was in my psychosis and I didn't know how much longer I was going to be in my psychosis. For those who didn't know, I accidentally took meth. I thought it was Adderall, and then I went into psychosis. So for those who didn't hear that episode, um, and then at the last minute, I was like, okay, I feel good. I don't want to perform, but I would like to go because two of my porno films that I was in that was in the Hump Film Festival were also being played at the party. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to vibe. And so I reached out to Yosef like day of, like I'm such a nightmare. And I was like, hey, can I still come? And he's like, we are so over capacity. I'm already stressed. I was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry. I don't want to stress you out. I'll find something to do. So I go in the WhatsApp chat and I was like, hey, I got a spray tan and a babysitter. What are we doing tonight? And then some friends reached out to me and they're like, hey, we're going to, what's the guy's name? Ethery Marcus Martin.
I have no idea. Wait, I've, here's the thing, people. I have no idea what Layla's talking about right now. So I don't. You
It was like
went
a
to.
laser show. It was like an EDM laser show.
Oh, there were three. So I was out of town for work, but
Yeah.
there were like three DJ sets, and the friends were meeting
Yes.
up and then splitting off and going to three different
Yes.
DJ sets. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what we
Okay.
did. We went to a party. So the pre-party was super fun. And then we all, get to the concert and have an absolute blast. I'm like making out with this hot guy I had just met and like dancing with my friends. And I forget that people in the real world like aren't in the lifestyle.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until a couple hours in that I'm like looking around and everyone's looking at us because we're all dancing with each other. We're all making out with each other. We're all touching each other. And people are like, wait, wasn't she just making out with that guy over there?
Mhm.
And now she's like cuddling with this guy over here. And now she's making out with this girl. Like, what the hell? So that's always really fun. Uh, and then the after party was really fun. It was interesting. We like walked in and the party didn't seem to be kind of like getting off yet. And then as our crew kind of all got to this after party, because it had started a while ago, it turned into like the party that it was supposed to be.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And I went into this party being like, I'm gonna fuck. I am horny. I am ready to go. I want to get it in. And instead, I mean, you know me, I just like was a mermaid in the pool for like 2 hours. Um, but it was cute. Like I like, talked with Vanessa and like,
Wait, so you didn't play at all?
I played a little bit. So the way that I played, so you know how I've been trying to tap into my Dom energy. And after talking with Mistress Tashmia, it really inspired me to keep playing with that energy. So I went upstairs and two of my friends were up there and our friend's laying down on the couch. And then my other girlfriend is kind of sitting nearby. And they had just had like a really intense sex session. And I was talking about giving blowjobs, and the guy was like, oh, like, you want to show me what you're talking about? And I was like, yeah, for sure. So I'm just like, licking him really slow as I do. And then I looked to my girlfriend and I was like, you're up. And because she's very submissive and she's like, okay. And so she starts doing that. I was like, oh, whoa, 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 too fast. That's too fast. What are you doing? And so she like gets slower, slower. And I was like, do not put the whole thing in your mouth until I tell you, And I had the guy's eyes covered and I was like, I just want you to feel good. You deserve to feel so fucking good tonight because he's all about women's pleasure. And I was like, I want this to be about you right now. And so I was doming her for him. And it was amazing and so precious and so wonderful. And we did that for like 30 minutes. And then afterwards, we all like cuddled. And the guy came up to me after and he was like, I just like, thank you so much. I very rarely am I thinking about my own pleasure. It's something that I've been struggling with. And so the fact that you kind of took the reins and did that like was actually really special for me. And we all just like had this really cute little moment.
That's so you were doming her, and
Yeah.
he was just kind of like he was there like a recipient. So like, he wasn't a sub in that either. He was just kind of
Nope.
like the prop almost to some
Yes.
extent. Yeah.
He was a prop.
And so she did exactly what you told her to do. But had you agreed to this beforehand that she was gonna, or you just jumped in and
No,
started demanding
it was
that she do it?
completely organic. And, like I'm, because I can be kind of like a mother dom in a way, like Tosh
Hmm.
said. And so I'm whispering in my friend's ear, like, does this feel good? Like, are you good? Kind of like checking in with her quietly. And she's like, oh, yeah. So I knew that she was where she wanted to be.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, for those of you who don't know what Layla's talking about with like the mother dom stuff, the last episode where we had Mistress Tashmia on, she was talking about the four different types of domination that there are. And it was mind opening for us. And so I mean Layla went and applied it immediately. The next
Yeah.
like 3 4 days later.
Yep.
Um wow. Okay. So did you what unlocked for you from doing that? What did you learn about you?
I think like I think I had a lot more confidence because I've been playing with this side of me for the last couple of months. And I think because I've had some scenes before that went really well, and after talking with Tosh, it just kind of gave me the confidence to tap into that more because before I talked with Tosh, I was like, am I doing this right? I kept asking myself, am I doing this right? Am I doing this right? And then after talking with her, I'm like, no, I think I am. I think I am doing this right. Um, and even like, I was never a fan of aftercare. And after that, I was like, let's all go get some water, and like cuddle. And that's what made the moment even more special is kind of enforcing that aftercare.
Yeah, can I ask some questions? What
Yeah.
well, thanks for saying yeah, because I was about to ask you without getting permission.
I consent.
What was your idea of aftercare that made you feel like you weren't into it? What did you think aftercare encompassed?
I thought aftercare was primarily cuddling, and I'm not really a big cuddler because I get claustrophobic. Um, and so when I'm done with a scene or something, I just want to like stretch my arms and just be like, all right, cool, let's high five and go get McDonald's. Like I just want to be chill about it. I don't need the additional intimacy regarding it. Not that I was opposed to it, I just don't need it. And so I thought it was eye opening when she was like, sometimes you don't need it, but the other people do. And
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, I actually never really considered that. Like, how selfish of me? Um, and both of these individuals, I highly suspected that they would appreciate aftercare. And I think I was right.
Got it. So it sounds like this was just, hey, let's go get some water and be in each other's energy, less like
Yeah,
we got to sit down and hold each other.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Um, all right. So then you had an idea of like aftercare is a specific thing, and that wasn't the case. Um, so do you think in the future you might ask someone what aftercare looks like for them before you start the scene? Or would
Mm,
you just discover it when you get there?
I think I would just discover it when I got there because I also don't want to set an expectation that I'm going to do a full scene to completion.
Mm,
Right? Because sometimes I just wanna play la 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 and then be like, "Oh, that was so fun, hugs, I'm on to the next one." So, I don't want that pressure to have to finish a scene, you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but we did have, like, a full scene, he came, and dude, when he came, he was, like, yelling. It was like he said he came for, like, a minute straight.
Oh, wow.
He was, like, yelling. He was like, "Oh," and then after he was like, "Oh my god. Oh my god," and he was just like it was like this, it was so fucking cool, and of course my ego's like,
Of course.
"Yeah,
Layla's ego.
yeah,
So can I ask a question about him? So you said that
yeah."
he tends to go and he has to focus on other people's pleasure,
Mhm.
and then he doesn't get pleasure out of that. Like, what's that about for him?
Well, it's not that he doesn't get pleasure out of giving people pleasure, I think he's just I imagine, right? I don't wanna speak for him, but I imagine a lot of, um, men especially can feel like when I hear men say, "I just get pleasure from giving you pleasure," I'm kind of like, "Fuck off. What's you?" Because same. So I almost feel like that's selfish when guys are like, "I just want to make you feel good." And I'm like, "Well, what if it turns me on to make you feel good?" So it kind of like, I actually don't like that answer at all. And so I just invited him to not think like that and to just relax. And that's why I covered his eyes.
What do you want guys to say?
I
What
would
what do you
like
what
for
are you expecting to hear from us when you
I
ask a
want them to
question like that?
tell me what they want and tell me what they like. When I'm like, "Oh, like what turns you on? What do you like?" "Oh, when you lick my balls, when you bite my dick, when you if you get on top, squeeze your pussy on me." Like, you know what I mean? Like ride my face. I want to know what turns you on. And so when they simply say, "Oh, it turns me on when you're turned on." Okay, well it turns me on when you're turned on. So what do you like? I don't think enough men are admitting out loud what they like. And maybe I can ask you, do you suspect that's because they just want to pleasure the women and they think that they're being hot by saying like what turns you on or this is all about you or because I don't want it to be all about me.
I man, I don't know. I think that there might be some of we are all indoctrinated with what sex is supposed to look like, right? And it's been informed by not just porn. We always blame it on porn, but Hollywood and the way sex looks in movies when they play it real fast, right? And it's like the couple starts making out, even if their clothes are on, it's really hot and intense. And then they start, you know, they start fucking in the way they do on Hollywood movies, and then they both orgasm at the same time, and then that's the end of the scene. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, and even though it feels like, man, I'm an adult and I'm not um, impacted by what happens in the media or what they feed me, we all are, because it forms our. Like I was talking to someone the other day about like why young men don't have role models, and I was
Mm.
like, part of what I kind of got at was like there aren't role models on TV. Like we kind of grew up with like Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel Air as
Right.
a dad, and like Full House on what it looks like to have like a. Maybe that's why some of us are open to new relations. It's like Full House was like a weird polyamorous kind of like vibe going on there, um and so it like indoctrinated us to be a little bit more open to it. But going back to what I'm saying, I think that we all have this belief about what sex is supposed to be. And then I think you sometimes meet that with like, man, I need to sleep with this person, make them come, then I have to come. But I might just want to, play with their boobs, right?
Right.
Like, or I just want to make out with someone right now. And where that could feel not good enough or feel like I'm letting you down.
Mm.
And look, I can't speak for all men in that, but I know that the pressure I feel sometimes is like, um, person A told person B that I was a good time. So then person B is hoping for the good time that person A had. So for me to meet that and be like, I just kind of want to like make out today, feels like I might be letting you down. So then do I own my truth, or do I, you know, suck it up and perform?
Mm.
And I would guess that given those two options, most guys would suck it up and perform.
That sucks. That sucks. You know, like you know what's strange is I haven't had sex with anyone else besides my husband since October. Oh wait, I fucked you actually. That's so funny. Sorry, I forgot. My husband and I were talking and I was like, "Yeah, I don't think I have besides you."
But that's a great example. You
Yeah,
and I played. It's the shortest amount of time we've ever played. It
right.
was like 3 minutes, 3 or 4
Right.
minutes, and then I want to say you climaxed, and then it was like that's it,
Right.
because that's not what we were really there for, right? It was just like an added bonus, and that was a level of connection I think we wanted at that time, right?
Mhm.
But I know you, so I feel like I have more permission with you to do something shorter, or from a different level of intimacy. Do you get what I'm saying?
I prefer
Versus the
shorter.
stranger.
I don't want to have sex longer than like 15 minutes. If it's longer than 15 minutes, I'm like, "Can you
Oh,
hurry up?"
you'd hate to be married to me.
Yeah, I really would. I can't I don't want to. I don't wanna be having sex for longer than that. I'm tired. I like my Taco Bell's gonna be here in 10 minutes. Like I have to like
That's another reason you can't be married to me. You would not be eating Taco Bell. But I cringe.
I'm
Like
trying
for
to gain
me,
weight. So
huh?
I'm trying to gain weight. So I'm like
With
eating
Taco Bell,
everything. Yeah,
Layla,
I'll
my
gain
life
weight.
goal, one of my life goals I put it on my list this year is to get Layla off fast food.
I love it.
I hate it, man. That's wild.
I love it. But
But
okay, I have
anyway,
a question. When women ask you, Brian, like what do you like? What are you into? What do you say? Do you say, "Oh, I just like to turn you on. I'm into whatever you're into."
I'm gonna drop something crazy right now. Most women don't ask.
Oh, really? Okay, so
Look at
imagine
you.
we're
You just like hit a flat tire or something.
well, I don't I feel like I ask a lot of people, and so that's interesting.
I bet you do.
Yeah,
You do,
right.
because you care. I don't. And look, I'm not saying that they don't care, but the more mature women who've been in the space for a while, and I don't mean mature like age wise, just like
Right.
they've been around for a while, they get it. They
Right.
will ask, but most girls do not ask.
Why do you think that is? Because they just like don't care, or it's more about them, or they just don't know to ask?
This is such a this is such a minefield right now, that the way I answer this question and how we cut it can be taken very differently. I'm not gonna say that I don't think the women care. Um, look, I think a lot of people are just a lot of women are or I just want let me take women gender out of it, right? I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are learning how to say no and learning how to ask for what they want in this space. And so I think part of it is like they're maybe they're just not there yet. Like they're still figuring out how to say no.
Mhm.
Um, I also think to get to a point where you know what you want to the level that you're willing to go up to the guy to ask and initiate it is growth in itself because that's not what you were taught outside, right? Outside of the space. Um, so then ask the guy what specifically would be pleasurable for him tonight is another. It's just like a step up. I would challenge everybody to ask that question of everyone that they hang out with, right?
Mhm.
And not just assume that what they want is what they wanted last time. Because I know I fucked that up before too, like assuming that what someone wanted tonight was what they wanted the last time you hung out.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't want to make it like, oh, women aren't in a place where they can ask that question. I just think we're all on our journeys and
Yeah.
we're all figuring it out. And most people haven't gotten there yet. I'm sitting here trying to talk about it and think about it at the same time, which is really, really hard. Um, and I'm sitting and thinking about the last time someone asked me what I wanted. Um, because you make a good point. Like you just mentioned the dick biting in passing, right? Usually I'm proactively saying that at some point. They're not asking me at any point how I prefer a blowjob to go.
Like, okay, because I do that with everybody. Whenever I'm giving a blowjob to anybody, ask anybody I've given a blowjob to. When I'm down there, I'll like lick their balls, and I was like, "Do you like your balls licked?" And sometimes they're like, "Yeah, it's whatever," and sometimes they're like, "Yeah." And then like I'll suck their dick and I'm like, "Do you want it soft?" And I'll do it like softly and I'm like, "Or do you want it hard?" And then I'll suck harder. Like I ask questions while I'm doing it.
Yeah, I love that about you. I don't think most people do that. I think most people just go suck dick how they like to suck dick or what they know. They're not style flexing for the person. Um, and I think we should do more of that. I know like when I do give head, I am trying to adjust what I'm doing based on the response I'm getting from the partner. I just don't keep doing what I'm doing, assuming it's going to work on you.
Mhm.
But
Response being like body language or like
body
twitches or
language,
like,
or I'll ask, like, do you want fingers in here? Do you not want fingers in there?
yeah.
Right? Like, do you want it sucked? Do you want it licked? Like, there's so many questions you can ask in that. There's a girl recently who said something to me that was kind of crazy. She was like, during oral, the thing I hate the most is eye contact.
Mm,
So don't look at me.
mhm.
Like, no matter who's doing it, don't look at me.
Good
Right?
for her. Good for her to be like straight up.
And
That's
had she
hot.
said that, it's hot, but, like, I would have never known that was a boundary for some people or a preference that they had. That it was a weird preference for me 'cause it threw me off. I was like, "Wait, what is that about?" 'Cause, I mean, I'm like, "What is that about? Like, where's that come from in your childhood?" Um, where, like, eye contact during oral,
Mhm.
hates it, and they're in the industry, and I was like, "But you're in the industry." She's like, "Yeah, I'm looking at the camera, though. I don't look at the person." She's like, "I never look at the
I
person," you
actually
know?
don't love eye contact either.
Really? What's that
Yeah.
about for you?
I think it takes me out because in order to come from anything, I have to focus. I have to focus yet relax at the same time. And so if I'm looking down at what you're doing and then you look at me, I instantly feel like I'm being judged, not necessarily bad or good. I'm just being judged because you're reading me by looking up, right? And so when you're reading me, I'm very aware that you're reading me and it takes me out of my concentration and it's harder for me to come. Where does that come from, Brian?
Man, that is a looking good conversation for sure. That is so you start worrying about what's going through my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, he's looking at me because I don't feel like I look cute when I'm like in pleasure, like in order for me to actually come, I don't think I look cute. And so if you're looking up at me and I'm like, ugh, like this feels so good, like I don't look cute. I'm like, okay, change your face, like try to look cute. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny about porn? You never see the guy's face when he's come. Like you see the hand and the dick and you see the
Yes.
girl's face, but I never know what any of these guys look like but I know what I look like. And so then I'm like, "Oh, I look weird." But I actually don't know if I look weird cuz I don't know what anybody else looks like when they do this. So
Right.
you're right. It's a good example where our insecurities kind of pop up and we
Mhm.
take ourselves out. Yeah, okay. So then why? So obviously, we're encouraging more people on this episode to ask what the other person wants. Now, put it back on you're a woman, and I know you ask, but put yourself in the shoes of a bunch of other women.
Mhm.
Um, why do you think they're not asking, and how would you encourage them to do it?
I suspect it's a confidence thing, right? I suspect that women believe that it's it's interesting because I imagine that they believe that it will make them look less confident by asking what the guy wants, when in reality, it's actually the opposite. I think it shows a lot of confidence in order to ask what the guy wants. You know? So it's kind of this like weird confidence mindfuck.
Yeah, you think there's this weird assumption that you're supposed to know, and that's like when I said like media and porn and stuff. There's this assumption that like in porn, there's never a conversation of like, hey, what do you want tonight, right? The guy just like magically knows, and they just like give each other massive super pleasure, right? Um, and there's probably some people out there who think like people men should know, right? Like I'm sure there's a narrative out there like that, but the pressure to be like, you should be good at getting head, and without me having to coach you, I don't know where that's coming from. I
Right.
actually wish more people would ask me while they're doing it because I would make some adjustments, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
How would you
but it's
feel?
a
Because
confidence.
I think it would be important for our audience to know, like, if a girl came up to you, you didn't know who she was, you're vibing, and then she starts going down on you, and then she asks, would your first impression be, "You know what you're doing, like, why are you asking me?" Or would you be like, "That's hot," or, like, what would your reaction be?
I get so turned on because I think vulnerability is incredibly hot.
Yeah, yeah,
I think vulnerability is so hot for someone to be like, hey, you know what? I'm trying to get better at this right now, and I'm realizing everybody's different. What do you like?
yes, because everyone is different, you're right, and, like, I'll be sucking dicks, and, like, the guy sitting next to me wants it hard, and then the guy next to him is like, "Oh, slow down," and then the guy next to him says, "Speed it up." You know what I like, everyone is different, and so instead of these guys just and also I do really appreciate it when the guys do say, "Oh, can you slow down?" Or, "Oh, can you do harder?" "Oh, tighter fist." When they kind of direct me, I think that's also incredibly hot, and it also kind of puts me in this really cute little subspace too, where I'm just like, "Yes, daddy, tell me what to do."
Yeah, but that's not even okay. But see, look, I don't even want to bring dom and sub into it because it's just communication between two
Totally.
consenting parties. For me to ask what I want doesn't necessarily put you in the like. If you're scraping me and causing me pain, I can say something,
Well,
and that
yeah.
doesn't make you a sub, right?
Right.
I get what you're saying, though. That is,
Just for
um,
me personally.
yeah, that's so funny that you took that to us. That puts you in a subspace even for the moment.
It can, depending on the person. If they're, like, too annoying and really directing me and, like, moving my head and, like, I'm not even a person, I fucking hate that. But if they give little suggestions, I'm like, "Yes, daddy, you know what you want. That's so hot of you." And, like, direct me, let me be your toy.
Hmm.
To a certain extent. As soon as they start grabbing my head and then, like, I may as well have just been a sex doll for them, and they're just like, "Okay, now you're gonna go here, and you're gonna," and then it's like, "Okay, like, give me a couple pointers or tell me what you want generally. Don't just use me
Yeah.
unless I want to be used."
See, and this is see, y'all are so complicated. Look at you. You just like contradicted yourself. Don't
I
use me
know,
unless
right?
I
I
want to be
did.
used. But then it's
Yeah,
not for you to decide. You
right.
like ask me
It's a
if I want
mind
to be
fuck.
used, and then I'll tell you. You
Well, that's
know,
true. That's true. If
you
they're
know,
like, "Can I use you?" Which has been asked before, like, "I just want to use you." I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm your doll. Go."
the song in my head is Christina Aguilera, "What a Girl Wants, What a Girl Needs," and I think the next line is like, "Whatever makes me happy sets you free,"
Mm,
and you don't even know it's gonna make you happy. Like it's gonna be different every. So how can I find freedom? You know, Layla, if it's different every time, I guess I just ask.
yep.
Um. Anyway, the point is, I think we can all do a little bit more asking. It sounds
Yeah.
like, and we might have some more fun. All
It's
right, but that's cool.
hot.
You went to a party. I'm bummed you didn't do Mystery Temple.
I
Um.
know. It's fine though. I think I had like I might have even had more fun at this one because I like variety. So it was like 3 events in one night, which was
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, man. I haven't been to a party in a while. It's so funny.
I
Um.
know. Where have you been? You're all
I have been
travel-y.
like heads down working a lot, and I have not been in a play party mood.
That's cool. Good for you for being like,
I
I don't
just
feel like it.
yeah, I just haven't like man, I've just been wanting to some nights sometimes we're like, man, let's just go for it and have fun. Even we're in Sayulita right now, like I said earlier, and it's not like we're not open to fun. We just kind of don't want to put a bunch of energy into it. Um, and I think that I'm being more mindful at events, like where my energy is going. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like it's a lot of effort. The playing with people takes a lot of like I don't know. I'm trying to find another word other than energy, but yeah, it is a lot of calories, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to like be more mindful of like when I want to where I want to spend that time. And I've been leaning more into people I already know, less new people. So I think my wife and I are more a right now we're trying to connect with people we've been wanting to spend more time with versus like trying to find new people, which is different because sometimes we're like, yo, we want new, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I think because we're in that phase, like the party is less useful to us because the people who we wanted to play with were like they either weren't at the party or we could have just connect with them outside of the party anyway.
Mhm.
Um, so it is interesting being at this town now, like being like, man, everyone here is new. By the way, everyone here is new and young enough to be our kids. So that is also
Uh,
interesting, right? They're
okay.
like
Yeah.
in college and they all dress the same and like the mullets per capita in this town right now is not, you know, not healthy for
Oh
sure.
god, are
You
mullets
know?
back?
Mullets been back, yo. Layla, mullets have been I don't know why they came back. I don't know who brought them back, but mullets are alive and well.
No,
I
thanks.
think especially in the South. You're not into the mullet thing?
No, not at all. No, not at all. I'm not into it.
So so there's definitely some mullets walking around town.
No, thank
Um
you.
something we realized we can we can cut this if we want to, but like because it's gonna be hard for me to say this without it being racial. But
Okay.
something we realize is that all of our friends and our crew in LA know how to dance and have rhythm.
Mhm.
And being exposed to non place based people from other cities reminds us that not everybody has rhythm. And then we like, we wonder, we find ourselves wondering what beat they're hearing. Like we want to hear the world through their ears, you know?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and it's just been really, really, really interesting, you know. Like
I
there's no dancing happening. You got a crowd of people and the music is great, but there's no dancing. Everyone's so fucking into like all these college kids are so insecure about looking
right.
good that no one's moving.
That's so sad. I used to be like that, where I used to be like that, and now I just like don't care how I look. And I'm not a great dancer at all. I don't have great rhythm. Like I'm more of like kind of like a boppy dancer, like I'm not a great dancer, but I stopped caring about it and I just have a good time. And that's kind of all that matters. Like even if someone's dancing and they're dancing not well at all, if I can just see that they're just vibing and having like the best time and living their best life, I'm like, slay,
That it slay. Love it. Thank you,
slay.
Layla.
Yep.
So all right, so I think that's the point. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. It's less like a race thing, but like you're off rhythm because you're trying to be on someone else's rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And you're trying to fit into like this other box and it's not working out. So just like do you. Just be you.
Yeah.
You don't gotta wear the same thing everybody else wore. You don't have
Mhm.
to have a mullet. That's okay. You know? Just do your thing. And and it's kind of funny because, you know, when Vanessa was on the episode, she was saying like part of what makes us all unique is that we were all these weirdos. And I remember she said that. I was like, yeah, we all are weird. But I think what she was also saying was like we are all unique and we've learned to embrace what made us unique versus try to fit in the box that everybody else fit into. And so when I see these college kids, it's like the weirdos haven't found it within themselves yet to just be different
Yeah. Yeah.
and for that to be okay. Because I think being different is scary. It's scary to like, you know, I'm gonna be the one that dances even if I'm the only one dancing, you
Right.
know. So,
How
you
old were
know,
you when you think you kind of found that confidence and being like, "I don't have to be like everyone else"?
man, like late 20s.
I was gonna say yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Early 30s, late 20s is when I was like, "Why don't why do I care what people think? Nothing is real. I don't care." Like, fuck it.
Nothing's real. Everyone's weird. Like I saw the best artists are weird as hell. Like
Mhm, right.
And so we actually look up to people that are a little weird.
Mhm. And
Anyway.
I don't wanna get to know somebody who's just like everybody else. That's so fucking boring. Like, I am way more attracted to somebody who is unlike someone I've met before.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
For sure, everybody. Everyone wants to date like a it's weird, like, we wanna date these unique people, but then, like, we date them and then we, like, get afraid of that, though. Like, their power kinda scares us,
Mm,
you know?
mm.
Damn, I'm opening up a whole 'nother door right now,
I was
but, like,
gonna
I don't know if
say
we
because
wanna go to
I'm
the
not sure I entirely relate. What do you mean by that?
I think that so look, I mean, this doesn't happen to everybody, but like you date someone and then what you're initially attracted to them might be, man, they're a world traveler and they're always all over the place and I love that about them. And like, kind of aspire to be that. But then for you to be in a relationship with them requires time. So
Mhm,
then like you kind of need them to travel less in order to be with you, and then so we start kind of putting this pressure on people to change or conform to make me feel better, right? Because you know while yeah, when we met I thought it was badass that you went to Antarctica, and stuff like that, but for you to be in Antarctica for 3 months means you're not with me, right?
mhm,
um and I think that like if I don't handle my own insecurities, I'll start to like hold you back or try to diminish you. Like
mm,
I either need to grow to catch up or you gotta come back down. And I
mm,
think most of us, if we're not aware enough to grow personally, will try to hold you down.
yeah, preach.
And yeah, I don't know where that came out right now, but like even in the place, I mean, the place like any space is like that. Like it happens in the play space, it happens in like dating, and I think it's like where I think that what you have completes me. I think that's where it gets weird.
Ah,
Like you
yeah,
have something I don't have. Um, and so, but I still get to rise up to whatever that thing is. You know,
mhm.
I don't know.
No, you're
A lot
right.
of
That's like that's a whole podcast episode right there because I could go on and on, but, I also wanna talk about something else, but I do
what do you
want
want to talk about
write that
before I?
down, Annie, because
All right,
I
we'll
wanna
write that.
divulge into
Yeah,
more of that for
we'll call
sure.
that.
Because I
Yeah,
could go on and on.
we'll call that like dimming your light. I think, or dimming. Really,
Ooh,
it's dimming your light or dimming their light because I think we do
yeah,
both.
yeah. I had my 3rd ever MFM.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was really cute. So my husband has been dating that girl, and so, like, he has, usually, like, a date a week, and I don't and so, like, I'm at home with the kids, I'm, picking up the slack and doing all that, and I was like, "I really just want a day off," and so my husband was like, "Monday, take the whole day off, do whatever you wanna do," and I woke up, Monday and was like, "I'm horny, and I want to fuck my husband and Clyde." So I texted Clyde, which is the rock star guy I've been
Hmm.
dating, and I texted him and I was like, "Come over and fuck me with my husband." And he was like, "I'll be there in an hour." I was like, "Perfect." Kids are at school, we have the house to ourselves, and it was so fucking hot. And we only had like an hour before uh, my husband had to go get the kids, which is perfect because again, I don't like having sex for too long at all. So I
Uh
was like, an
huh.
hour's perfect. So we just had the best time. And then this is where it gets interesting. You know how I was like, I don't really like aftercare? So I came so hard and I came for like a minute straight and I was like convulsing. It felt so good. And then directly after, my husband and Clyde, like they didn't even communicate that they were going to do this. They both just start like rubbing me and like massaging me and like Clyde's like rubbing my legs and my husband's like rubbing my shoulders and my arms. And I started like tearing up and like started crying. And I was like, what is this? Like, why do I feel so loved and like emotional and taken care of? And it was the kind of aftercare I never knew that I fucking needed. It was amazing.
So you got caressed. You didn't get cuddled. So you wouldn't count it as cuddling.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because cuddling, I'm like, okay, like this is a straight jacket. And then being caressed,
Hmm.
I think I found it. I think I found the aftercare I want.
Had they met before?
Yeah. Yeah, they had met
Okay.
in person, one time before, but they had been friends and talking on Instagram for a couple years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not for a couple years.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Got it. So there was like a familiarity where he felt comfortable with what was happening.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Both of them felt very comfortable. They both
So
vibe.
so then how long was it?
About an hour?
So it did take about an hour. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's awesome. Okay, so you just put your boyfriend and your husband together for the first time in a sexual. What
Yeah.
was like? What were you nervous at all going into that, or you just trusted them to handle it?
I no, I wasn't nervous. I think the only thing I was maybe the only thing I was nervous about is how to get it started, right? That's always like the first thing I think of is how do we get this started? Do we just start making out? Do we talk first?
Uh
Do
huh.
we, like we didn't really. So that's the only thing. So I texted Clyde and I was like, hey, like we're taking showers, we're just like getting cleaned up, just come upstairs. So he just kind of came upstairs. I'm laying on the bed and I was like, oh my gosh, hi, and I like pull him onto me onto the bed and we're making out. And then I just made the executive decision, which maybe I should have talked to them beforehand. I don't know, but I was like, we're going. It's starting now.
So you started it
Yeah.
on your. I think that makes sense because you're the bridge between the two,
You
right?
think so? Okay.
I think so. You're like the rent. I don't know. I can't
No,
find an
that
analogy
makes
right now,
sense.
but yeah, you're the bridge between the two. So for you to get it going, and then when the woman's ready to, yeah, for sure. I think that made sense. It
Yeah.
was the same thing with ours. Like when I think about the MFM we had, it was like my wife had to get it started for sure. So all
Hmm.
right, nice, good on you. Okay,
Yeah.
are you gonna try to do this again, or you do
Oh God,
with me?
100%. And it's great too because like he had just gotten tested, I had just gotten tested, so we also didn't have to use condoms. So it was just like easy breezy, like just like you know what I mean? Because the condoms doing a threesome kind of sucks because you have to like, you know how it is. Um, it was a blast, and I'll for sure do it again. And Clyde only lives 30 minutes away, and I it's interesting because you know me, like I don't love spontaneity when it comes to sex, but in this regard, I loved it. I loved it because I thought it was so sweet. I was like, "Hey, are you free?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll be right there."
And then I love how y'all pick the kids up, and the kids have no clue
No
what goes
idea.
on
We're going
at
to
home.
pick up. I just
They
fucked a rock star, and I'm like, "Hey."
Yeah. Your kids think you're old as dirt, first of all, and then and you don't do anything all day but wait for them. Like they have
Right.
no idea.
Uh-uh.
That's kind of gross. Now I'm thinking about my parents. I have no idea. Uh I have no idea. Like
Stupid.
I imagine, like ill, dude. I'm thinking about it right now. Like dad drove by, is like, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. I'm gonna stop by for the kids to get home. Like, of course they were doing that. Why wouldn't your parents do that? But it's so gross to think about right now. Guys, people, I hope you're all thinking about your parents right now and all
Yeah.
the midday quickies they had
Swear to
when you were
God.
at school. And they're like, thank God the little demons are at school and like they
The
got
only
it
time we
in.
get, because like I'm loud in bed, and so when because the kids' bedrooms are right next to our bedroom, so I cannot under any circumstances like be loud at all. And so because I'm so focused on like not being loud, I can't relax enough to like receive the types of pleasure that I want to receive. So hooking up while the kids are gone and I can like be loud, that's when I come the best.
Yeah, we got to do a poll. I want to do a poll on Andy. We got to do a poll. I want to know how many people are doing this when they're when like how often are you hooking up while your kids are at school? Um,
Hmm.
and I want to know. But good for you though, Layla. That's all. That's only your third one though.
Yeah. I'm so insanely picky about my MFMs. They need to get along really, really well with my husband, because I also get turned on by them kind of broing out together. And like, I kind of like to feel used. And so when they're like, high fiving or having their own little conversations, like while I'm under both of them, I think that's hot as fuck.
It's interesting because you're the brakes. Usually you're the gas. And in your MFM, it only being three, you're generally it sounds like you're the brakes.
A
Like
hundred percent.
there would be more your husband will be open to more of them, but you're the situations you want or the pickiness you have about it is why it's only been three.
I think my husband's just as picky, if not pickier than I am about
Mm,
MFMs.
really?
Mhm. 'Cause he
So both
agrees. He wants to vibe with the guy and, like, bro out with them, and he doesn't have that with a lot of people.
are you counting it as like instances or people, by the way?
What do you
Like, this is
mean?
your 3rd MFM person, or this is, like, your 3rd period, like, if Clyde came over next time, that would
Oh,
be your 4th.
period. Literally,
Got it.
period.
Got it.
Yeah. And so, like, if he came over again, that would be the 4th, my 4th
Okay.
MFM. So I
Got it.
haven't had a lot at all. Like, I am not, like, actually super fucking attracted to a lot of people. I have sex with people that I think are fun, but I'm not, like, so fucking into a lot of people. And so to have an MFM, I need to be like, "Oh my fucking god, yes." And I need to trust them. And yeah, like I need to want to hang out with them after, you know? Like my husband went and got the kids, Clyde and I went and got lunch and like shot the shit for an hour and a half and then like he went home to go get his kids, you know? Like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. And I thank you for sharing this, Layla. I've also let you down. I've definitely been invited quite a few times. I could have been number 3. You know, you always invite me. I don't live 30 minutes away though. You
I
you
know.
invite me, it'll be like this. It's like, yeah, come over right now. It's like I live in LA. You're basically San Diego to me.
Yeah.
I can't be there in an hour at all. At all. Like the
No.
timeline doesn't
And I
work.
also I also text you like late at night when I'm like really horny, which like rarely does happen and I'm all like who am I the most comfortable with that like I'm attracted to? And then like, you know, I talk to you basically every day. So I'm like, hey, what are you doing? You
Yeah.
up?
Yeah.
You
You
know? And
act
then
like I
the
live around the corner.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then, like, the next day, you're like, "What? Are you that was 1 in the morning." Or, like, I'll be in Palm Springs, and I'm like, "You up?" He's like, "You're in Palm Springs.
Yeah,
What's
you're
wrong
in
with
Palm
you?"
Springs, dude. So anyway, well, look, I'm pumped about this for you. I'm curious how it's going to evolve. I want to keep like updating this storyline because it went from you like I met this guy, now you kind of have a boyfriend, now you did your MFN. I want to keep following the arc. I'm
Yeah.
curious how it goes, and now anyway, so we're gonna follow up with this more again.
We'll
Okay.
circle back.
I gotta go, man. I gotta get out. I got a hummingbird in my window right now, and I
I
think
was
he's
just
telling
looking at a
me to
bird
get
too.
outside.
We were both just looking at birds at the same
What
time.
kind of bird were you looking at?
A crow.
Yeah, see, I don't like so the hummingbird to me is like, come outside. There's like life and stuff like that. I don't know
I
what a
think a crow
crow.
means, like, death.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
A crow
honestly
means like there's roadkill.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
we just have our bird lores outside, and it's just, like, so symbolic of us.
we're so I know we're so opposites. Like I see the world through like butterflies and rainbows. You're just like demons everywhere. Demons are around us at all times. Oh,
I
Layla.
live for it. I live
Um,
for it.
I am so weird. This is our last night here. I will do my best to do something for the plot. I'm not gonna like chase it super hard.
Mhm.
I think it'll come to us. But I just made a match on Field too. So her name is Sky. I hate when I
Sky
have the most boring name in the group. Like
Brian.
I know I know. I'm still working on a nickname.
My
Happy to
name's
like
Brian.
y'all. Please help me find a new nickname, people.
B Rye.
No,
B
nothing with
Ryan.
the B.
B.
Um, but when I get back, I am the other storyline we said we are gonna keep uh updating people on is me trying peptides.
Yeah, did you
So
start or no? Not yet.
no, because I wouldn't be able to do it in Mexico. But what's
Right.
so funny though is I did go to the grocery store to buy sunblock. Oh no, bug spray, and the lady tried to upsell me on steroids, and she pulled out this whole menu of like 9 different. It was like a one sheet. It was massive. It was like I was at a restaurant and she was like, "We have this type of steroid, this type of steroid, this type of just over the counter." Right? She just saw that I was in shape and was like, "You want to look like this guy?" And like she was like, "Yeah, buy 4 get 1 free." And I was like, "What? Buy 4?" And I was kind of tripping out because the first I don't do steroids, you guys, and like the last place I would buy it for the first time is from a random pharmacy in Mexico, especially
Don't.
after what you went through. And then they started trying to sell us Adderall, Layla. She started trying to sell us Adderall, and she was
What?
like, "Don't worry, it's legit, it's legit." And then she was like, "It's 30s, but you can cut it in half." And I was like, "Fuck no, we're not getting that Adderall.
See?
Hell
See?
no."
What
So,
the fuck?
and then we were like, "Listen, we're not on a work trip, we're relaxing." And she was like, "Cool, Xanax." And I was like, "Are you fucking making commission, dude?" She was just like
Straight up.
selling us so hard on. And now I realize because like there's a lot of pharmacies in this town and people can't be that sick. Now I realize what's happening. They're just like slanging
Right.
everything over the counter. And
Wow.
it's kind of wild, man. It's kind of wild, and I get it. Like the people who come here are like, like wealthy white people from America who like do Xanax, right? Right?
Right,
Who take
right,
Xanax. So like
right.
who need Viagra because they want to have fun. So like they
Mhm.
just met the demand, I think. Um, but
Wow.
it's kind of wild how aggressive they are. But anyway, the point is like I didn't want to start before I came here, and so I'm starting next week. So then we'll be able to
Cool.
kind of talk through that. I know, kind of embracing the adventure on that. We'll see how it goes. We'll see
That'll
how
be
it goes.
exciting. I still don't know what it
Um,
means or what it is or, like, what it's gonna
okay,
do.
next episode I will have more to talk about what it is and what it's
Thank
gonna
you.
do.
'Cause, yeah, I don't get it.
Annie, next episode we're gonna talk about dimming your light and peptides. I don't know how I'm gonna thread that through in the
Yeah, how are
same
you
on
gonna
the same
transition
episode,
that?
but we're
You are the
but
king
we're
of
gonna do it.
transitions. Thank God for you. Let's see how you do.
God, you know. That's it, everybody. Thanks for hopping on
Yeah,
today to this traveling episode of the Mass Swingers. If you enjoy this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we love, love, love that you guys have been so supportive. Feel free to jump into the comments. We read those. Whether you're an asshole or a nice person, we read the
yeah,
comment, just so you know.
yeah.
And until we see you next time, try something or try someone new.